to buy expensive tickets and a formal dress. Jae-woon couldn't understand why Sang-ae, who worked so hard stringing beads, would so willingly spend money to satisfy her vanity. Sang-ae secretly told him that the clothes were only rented and would be returned after the event. Actually, Sang-ae had her own reasons for doing this. When she was young, she always thought she was the center of the universe, loved by everyone. Until her enemy transferred to her class, that person took away all the spotlight that belonged to her, which made her very insecure. Sang-ae still remembered that feeling and didn't want to be outdone by her enemy at any time. Jae-woon couldn't understand the strange competition between women, but seeing that he couldn't refuse, he had to agree. After finishing Sang-ae's errands, Jae-woon returned to Da-young's house to continue cleaning. When he went into Da-young's bedroom, he saw that the room was still a mess. Da-young explained that every item felt meaningful to her, and she couldn't bear to throw them away. Jae-woon told her that the most important thing about cleaning wasn't about throwing things away, but about keeping things. Jae-woon suggested that she keep the memories, but the items should be discarded. Afterward, he took pictures of each item to preserve the memory, and then told Da-young to throw them away one by one in chronological order. Da-young felt that Jae-woon's approach was brilliant. It even inspired her to write a plan related to household chores, aiming to help women who couldn't give up their jobs nor neglect their housework, those who sought balance between the two. She named her plan Handsome Housekeepers. Da-young's plan was approved by Vice President An. The Vice President even put it up on the big screen and explained that housework was no longer solely women's responsibility. The Handsome Housekeepers service broke down people's outdated notions. They could advertise on forums and social media pages for mothers, attracting women with disposable income to use the housekeeper service and buy related products. Everyone thought the idea was great, but Da-young discovered that the name on the plan had been replaced by Vice President An. She immediately realized that Vice President An had stolen her credit. Da-young was furious, but didn't dare say anything, only imagining in her head the scene of her rushing up to expose the Vice President's despicable actions. In reality, she didn't even dare ask. Meanwhile, Vice President An calmly asked her to make a detailed presentation, instructing her to include photos of handsome men in the slideshow. On the other side, Sang-ae took Jae-woon to an engagement party. Seeing the other women staring at her expensive dress, Sang-ae was very pleased. Just when she was getting smug, a man slipped. The glass of red wine in his hand flew straight towards her and Jae-woon, pouring all over Sang-ae. To make amends, the man hurriedly stepped forward and started wiping her with a tissue. You scolded him for making it worse. He grabbed a bottle of white wine from the table and pulled Sang-ae into the bathroom to clean it off. You used the white wine to try to remove the stain. It was clear that the remaining stain needed to be taken to a dry cleaner to be dealt with properly. Sang-ae was on the verge of tears. The tag on her dress was still on. She had planned to wear it once and then return it. Once it was dry cleaned, she wouldn't be able to return it. After coming out, Sang-ae found out that the man from earlier was Lawyer Kwon, who also happened to be the only one of her ex-boyfriends who had dumped his ex-girlfriend. The lawyer insisted on compensating her. Sang-ae had no choice but to give him her business card. But after she got home, she remembered that the phone number on the card was from a jewelry workshop that had closed down. After much deliberation, she decided to take the initiative and contact Lawyer Kwon to receive compensation. She carefully chose her words, wanting to sound polite, but inadvertently sent a message demanding compensation. She scolded herself for being stupid, not knowing that the lawyer was ecstatic upon receiving her text. Lawyer Kwon had met Sang-ae a few times before and had a great impression of her. This time, he had accidentally stained Sang-ae's dress, giving him the opportunity to get to know her. He was agonizing over whether to call the phone number on the business card, and then received her message. Sang-ae had resolved her problem, while Da-young was swamped with trivial matters. The team leader's son was about to start kindergarten, and the team leader ordered Da-young to go stand in line to register at the school gate, as he wanted to be hired full-time. Da-young didn't dare disobey, and from 10 p.m. the night before until 5 in the next morning, she finally secured a spot. She reported the news to the team leader, who happily gave her the day off. Da-young didn't dare be careless, deciding to sleep for 2 hours and then go to work. Upon returning home, she placed the registration card on the table, turned on the fan, and fell asleep. not noticing that the card had been blown under the cabinet by the wind. Jae-woon came again to clean. This time, he had to clean Da-young's kitchen and bedroom. While he was working, Da-young secretly took photos of him to use in a presentation. When it was time for work, the team leader asked for the preschool registration sign. Da-young rummaged through her bag as if she couldn't find it, then quickly ran home. She searched and saw that Jae-woon had cleaned her bedroom thoroughly, but the registration sign was nowhere to be found. Worried, she asked Jae-woon if he had seen it. Hearing Da-young's description, Jae-woon realized that she was an intern who had to do such menial tasks. Da-young felt ashamed, suspecting that Jae-woon had thrown the sign away. But what was done, and she couldn't blame Jae-woon. In the evening, Da-young continued to search and finally found it under the cabinet. Just as she was rejoicing, So-mai came back and told her that Jae-woon was sorting through the trash at the collection point. Da-young ran out to apologize to Jae-woon, explaining that she had accidentally lost the sign. Jae-woon coldly replied, "It's good that you found it." With that, he turned and walked away. Da-young thought Jae-woon was angry. In her heart, she felt extremely guilty, because she still needed Jae-woon's help. It turned out that after seeing John's photos, Vice President and decided to invite him to be a model for an advertisement and assigned this task to Da-young. After what had just happened, Do-jang really didn't dare to approach John. Ironically, during the meeting, Vice President and presented the handsome housekeeper plan and received praise from her superiors. In the middle of the meeting, Da-young had menstrual cramps and ran to the restroom. By the time she came out, the meeting had finished. Her colleagues told her that Vice President and had announced in front of everyone that the handsome housekeeper was Da-young's idea. It turned out that last time, Vice President and put her name on the plan because she knew very well that the company would never give an intern an opportunity. If she had said from the beginning that it was Da-young's idea, it definitely wouldn't have been approved. Da-young understood Vice President An's intentions and expressed her gratitude. Vice President An asked her to go find Jae-woon to discuss a collaboration immediately. Da-young, enduring her cramps, led Vice President An to find Jae-woon. Before that, she had asked the director to convey her intention to collaborate to Jae-woon. Vice President An got straight to the point, stating her purpose for coming. Jae-woon wasn't at all interested in filming an advertisement, but he noticed that Da-young's face was very pale. While Da-young was in the restroom, Vice President An asked Jae-woon about his relationship with Da-young. Jae-woon asked the Vice President the same question. They were clearly superiors and subordinates working together, but the Vice President hadn't noticed that Da-young was sick or was deliberately ignoring it. Either way, it was unacceptable. Hearing Jae-woon say that Da-young felt warmth in her heart, she wanted to try to stand up, but suddenly felt dizzy. Jae-woon immediately picked her up and ran to the hospital. A little while later, Da-young woke up. In the past, she had often had period cramps, and each time she only needed to rest for a while to recover. She was busy with work, didn't have time to go to the doctor, and was also afraid that she might have a serious illness, so she kept hesitating and didn't go. This time, she wanted to get the Roman 4 drip and go straight home. Jae-woon stopped her, insisting that she get a full checkup to find out what was wrong before leaving. The doctor diagnosed Da-young with menstrual cramps and prescribed birth control pills. When Jae-woon went to buy the pills with Da-young, they unexpectedly ran into Vice President An, who had just arrived. This made her even more convinced that they were a couple. On the way home, Da-young was very grateful to Jae-woon for helping her. Jae-woon didn't understand why, if she was struggling so much, she didn't just sell the house. This comment made Da-young remember when her father passed away. Her relatives had also urged her to sell the house to pay off debts, but she didn't want to lose the only thing her father had left her. No matter how hard things got, she had to keep the house. Saying this, Da-young thanked Jae-woon again. The house was as if Jae-woon had cast a spell on it, becoming both clean and tidy. Jae-woon couldn't bear to see Da-young living so miserably, so he reluctantly agreed to consider doing the advertisement. Jae-woon took Da-young home, and her other friends were very worried about her condition. Jae-woon, being the kind person he is, borrowed ingredients from the old man and cooked the girls a delicious dinner. All 4 of them praised Jae-woon's cooking skills. Jae-woon asked Sang-ae if the issue with the dress had been resolved. Sang-ae said she had scheduled a meeting with lawyer Kwon. Her best friend then made up a fairy tale about Cinderella and her prince, hoping Sang-ae and Lawyer Kwon would become a couple. Today was the day of the meeting, and Lawyer Kwon had researched dating tips online beforehand, preparing what to eat and what to say. He even walked Sang-ae all the way home, deliberately finding excuses to pass by her house from time to time. Da-young happened to run into Sang-ae while she was shopping. He greeted her enthusiastically, wanting to come up to her place for a cup of coffee, but Sang-ae was aloof, feeling embarrassed, and subtly turned down Lawyer Kwon. She went home, put on sunglasses, and led him to the bar owned by Jae-woon's boss. Lawyer Kwon immediately recognized Jae-woon, the same person who had attended the engagement party with Sang-ae. That day, when he learned that Jae-woon frequently visited Sang-ae's house, he had asked about the relationship between the two. "He's not her boyfriend. He's my boyfriend." Jae-woon had to explain that he was only helping Sang-ae and her two friends clean up their house, hoping Lawyer Kwon wouldn't misunderstand. Realizing that Sang-ae was using Jae-woon as a shield, Lawyer Kwon said that doing so hurt him even more than being rejected directly. He openly admitted his feelings for Sang-ae, promising not to bother her anymore. Sang-ae had resolved her problem,